Hey guys, it's Crazy Comic Lady here, and I was commissioned to do 5 pieces of artwork from the old NES game Solstice. And the person who commissioned me is actually putting together an online museum that will include all sorts of bits and pieces from the original 90s game, including the prototype game cartridges, various bits of box art, and all sorts of documentation that went along with the game from the 90s. I'm not entirely sure all the stuff that's going to be included on this museum, but they asked if I could provide some artwork to go as kind of a modern day fan art of this game, since it was such a classic game, and I think a lot of people do still remember it who played it in the 90s, because it really was something special for the time. And the person who commissioned me asked if specifically if they could have the very first room from the intro, which had the kidnapping of Princess Eleanor, and also the very final room as well, where you fight Morbius and rescue Princess Eleanor. So those were the 2 rooms specifically that he wanted included in the commission, and the other rooms I was free to kind of choose whatever I wanted. So this first room, this kidnapping room, was probably the trickiest out of all of them, because it's very, very black, and the floor in like the original room is completely black as well. So I kind of felt if I did the floor black, it was going to kind of drown out the characters, and there'd be so little in this picture to look at. So kind of as an afterthought, I went, well, I'll try and do it grey, because at least then the room will sort of pop out the page a bit more. But I had such a hard time trying to get the colour to lay flat and not look streaky. It was, I have to say, these were really ink heavy pictures, which I wasn't quite anticipating just how many layers of ink I had to lay down to try and get them looking as smooth as possible. And I did struggle a lot with the floor on this one. Later on, I add in green spots, because in the original room there's sort of these patterned green dots all over the floor, and they were kind of difficult to replicate kind of where all the dots went, but I think it sort of breaks up the streaks a little bit. But out of all the pieces, it's not quite, I don't think it came out quite as well as the other bits. But the one thing, because originally I was going to do the floor just black like it is in the actual game, so I did very thick line art kind of around the sides where the green blobby bits are at the bottom. And in hindsight, I wish I hadn't done that, because it's sort of, there's too much black, especially around the characters as well. I put quite a lot of dark black around the outlines, because I thought I'd be going up to it straight in marker. So yeah, that was probably the trickiest one. It was sort of trying to find my stride to get used to doing these pieces. And yeah, for the second room, I decided to pick one of my most favourite rooms from the game. As a kid, I remember so fondly this room, because I thought the little blocks in the room looked like sweets, kind of like little bits of candy sweets that you eat. So I remember most of all kind of lining them up around the room and stacking them on top of each other and just playing around with them, because I must have been really young, like 2, 3, 4, something like that. So I remember fondly stacking up the little sweets in this room. So I really wanted to draw this room. I have actually done a miniature segment of this room before as an ATC card. There's a video of that one on my channel as well, if you'd like to go and check out that ATC video. But yeah, I don't know, there's so many fond memories of this game. I mean, it was an 8-bit game, and it had the most amazing music in it for an 8-bit game. I know I've said that before in a previous video where I've recorded my Solstice videos in the past, but it did have such brilliantly amazing music. I think it won an award or something for the music at the time. That's ringing bells that happened. Don't hold me to it, but I vaguely remember that happening. But yeah, I have to say, I did have trouble inking these pictures. They took so long. I think in my nightmares I was being chased by rulers and straight lines, because there really was a lot of rulers and straight lines in these pictures. But I mean, these games, if you've never played the game before, I really recommend that you get an emulator and give it a go, because it was a very puzzle-based game. You had to really figure out how to get through the rooms and into the next part of the game. And yeah, the quest was to rescue Princess Eleanor and defeat the evil sorcerer before he sacrificed her. And you played as little Shadax, the wizard, It kind of reminds me of the guy from the Discworld series, whose name I've forgotten. Rincewind. He reminds me of Rincewind. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you look forward to the other versions of Solstice that I do, the other rooms, and I'll see you guys all soon. Bye!